It's okay, 6 minutes delay. Please keep your presentations around 15 minutes so we can have also 5 minutes at least time for discussions. So the next project, TRAPEZE, Alexander, would you like to share your screen? Because I have the PDF form. Yeah, I think it's better you share your screen.
Yes, yeah, I will share my screen in just a second.
Great.
I guess you can see my screen now, right?
Yes, yes.
All right.
Great, thank you.
All right, so yes, hello again, everyone. My name is Alexander Vezlchenko. I am working for Tenforce. It's a Belgian company, also is in the software as a service business for safety in industrial application, safety and security. And we are coordinator of the TRAPEZE-project, which is stand for Transparency, Privacy, and Security for European Citizens. So we are the same cluster of the European Commission call. So let me begin. And I would prefer to begin with just a personal story. And I just, a disclaimer, those slides were made before February. So there is no coincidence. It's just because I am actually coming from Ukraine. So I was born in Ukraine and Tenforce is in Belgium, and I'm living in Belgium. And these are my parents. And 3 years ago, before the Corona hurdle, they came to Belgium. So and they had to actually fly from Ukraine to Belgium by plane. Yeah, and these are already people on the pension and so on and so on. And in order to do that, they actually had to deal with a lot of the exchange, often in a digital form, sharing their private information. They had to apply for visa, they had to provide some financial statements, go through insurance, buy boarding passes, also sharing their private information. Through the custom control, their information, private information was also somewhere shared. And if they would even travel today or like a year ago, they would need to show their COVID pass. So basically share their, special category of information, their medical information. So, and you could say that, okay, just remove a non-European country from the picture because we're a European project. So probably you will not have to deal with this myriad and dozens of processors, data controllers, which actually possess very privacy sensitive information from you. And then let's just take a normal European case. So I'm living in Belgium, I'm using mobile banking. So, and one bank essentially for me, when I was at the point that I had to pay my, say, bills, etc., I'm opening the app, and instead of being enabled, I actually had to agree on the updated regulations of my bank. And it happens to me every 3-4 months that I open in my application or go on web to log in on web to pay my bills. And I cannot actually move before I agree on the updated regulation. So the only option for me is to accept this. That's the only option. Because otherwise, if you can see, this button continue is not available. Well, by choosing that, you can say, okay, look, you actually have the KBC is the name of the bank here in Belgium, so touch regulation. So you can actually, the only alternative you have this PDF which you can download. So you download this. I don't know if you had fun of that doing this, but I do it just as a matter of already like a professional expertise. We actually bombarded at the moment where we have to pay our bills, right now. We have to do it today. You can easily get a document. This document was something like 79 pages. I had a record of 140 pages. The record most merciful document was about 24 pages. So you can imagine that it's written in quite refined legalese language which is thrown at a normal European citizens and the moment where he actually needs to use the service which he pays for and he obliged. So will be much easier if a and the controller in case of my bank, which provides financial service, but he controls, the bank controls my private information, say, okay, look, actually, would it be better to have like an algorithm, etc., saying, okay, look, these are the 2 pages where actually we made changes, and these changes are explained to me in the normal and average Joe language. So in layman's Jack saying, okay, actually, we now want to pass information to financial police in case you make an international wire transfer. That's it. So of course it's all obscured in those dozens, if not hundreds of pages updated updated license agreements, etc., or use terms with the bank. And what about the Article 12 of GDPR, which clearly states that the controller shall take appropriate measures to provide any information and any communication relating to processing to the data subject in a concise, transparent, intelligible, and easy accessible form using a clear and plain language. That one which you see in your background is not a clear and plain language, believe me. Just try yourself. I think it's easy to understand. So what I mean. And the idea is how to take the old documents, your old agreement, probably you spent time reading these 100 pages, and have an algorithm which can parse and analyze your previous document with the new document, and for instance, compare with the consents you given for the initial contract, initial agreement with the bank, for example, is coinciding with the consents, not actually breaching or denying the consents which you have to accept by the new updated terms and conditions of the bank. And this is what about the TRAPEZE project. TRAPEZE project about actually ordinary European citizens which deal with governments, which handle their authoritative data, financial or reputational data, think of a bank or an insurance company, and also actually any type of personal data, including your social media, your services you enrolled digitally, pretty much now connecting to every aspect of your life, which are again privacy sensitive. And of course, all this data between all the stakeholders is actually, in fact, have quite severe interconnectedness. So we want to have an overlook which information is held and controlled and what way it is processed by each of the partner. And of course, we want it to be not only controlled by us, but we also want it to be secured. Of course, GDPR brings a whole range of rights, our legal rights for basically these are like not functional in the software itself requirements of GDPR of right to be informed, right to access information, right to erasure, right to object, and so on and so on. And this market is growing. So a positive message for projects like ours, excuse me, projects of ours is that the market forecast will grow to 1.2 billion euros just in the in 2020. It's already 1.2 billion, and it will reach 4.3 4.4 billion in 5 years. I mean, by 2026, so it's in 4 years already. So, all right. So, and here basically where the TRAPEZE projects comes in between, we have this official information from Cordis. We started also like PALANTIR in September 2020. It's a 3 years project with 6 million overall budget. We have, and with the 10 Force, which I represent, being the coordinator of the project. So, and the main objectives of the consortium is to empower citizens and establishing a more trustworthy data economy where actually uh, average Joe, like person like my mother or father, can have raised awareness of their personal data processing risk and cyber threats. And also we want to pilot TRAPEZE solution in 3 distinct personal data processing scenarios. We have 3 use case partner: Deutsche Telekom, representing telecom, CaixaBank, it's #1 retail bank in Spain, and the Flemish government, which is Ministry of Digitalization of Flanders, which is a part of Belgium. So, and speaking of these 3 scenarios, the Flemish government already has an application, which you can see on the right-hand side of your screen, which is called My Citizen Profile. So every Flemish citizen having their ID card, basically national ID card, we can log in into your personal account and have a dashboard about the information which you shared with the government and with uh, and you can also change the information. So basically you can communicate through this application with the government. And the goal of our pilots within the TRAPEZE project is that the citizens, European citizens, let's say, receiving in education in Belgium, can share in a safe form, given consent and complete overlook and control what is going on about their educational certificates with other European members, basically company which wants to access this information. Because I can arrive to Germany, bring a paper saying that I got I don't know, PhD in nuclear physics, but I still will need a lot of proofs, and this is just the paper. Now, to have the digital confirmation, to save the hurdle of confirming your education, etc. This is the form where Flemish government wants to advance within the TRAPEZE project. We use different type of data storage mechanisms. It's a solid pod, so it's another brainchild of the Tim Berners-Lee, who is the known as inventor of the internet. So it's basically how you handle your personal data within the interconnected internet ecosystem. A second use case is the Deutsche Telekom use case, where we have telco operator actually handling masses of information, which is personal information for us, starting from our GPS location, how we connected, and how we use our mobile devices. And they have a so-called data intelligence hub. It's a platform where other partners can actually engage with their own application. So, for example, I can collect, I can be, I don't know, a traffic control company, and through the Deutsche Telekom geolocation data acquired from the users, I can make some own insights about traffic, I don't know, public events, and so on and so on. But then indeed, Deutsche Telekom, through their data intelligence hubs, they cannot share this information without a consent of me, because it's essentially probably something Deutsche Telekom can even earn money sharing this information. But what's about engaging the owners, the originator of this information? What about me being exactly, let's say, a customer of Deutsche Telekom, being able to have my cuts on these profits? I say, okay, look, I'm okay to share my, say, personal information related to my geolocation, for example, or the way I use my mobile phone. Let's say my data plan, how much internet I consume versus how much I talk and SMSs I send. And if other company can leverage this data and they are ready to pay for this, I want to, first of all, know about this and have my say whether I want this or not. And second of all, if, let's say, this information can be monetized, then I would like to be the part of this revenue scheme. So, and that's where TRAPEZE again shows the basically we are exercising the muscle of a sticky policy where you exactly can, in the human understandable language, express this desire, your consents for data sharing, what type of data sharing, etc. And then these policies will automatically be attached as a metadata to your personal information, and the controllers essentially use this sticky policy to be compliant with your consent and indeed with the GDPR rules. And then the third use case is coming from CaixaBank, Spain. So every one of us, if we want to be engaged with the financial service provider, we have to pass through know your customer procedure, so KYC. So I have to hand in my information, and that's a costly and time-consuming process. So in fact, often it's already done digitally, but classically, like in classic way, I just come into a bank, show my ID card, show some proofs that I live there, etc., etc. And then this information is stored and used to provide me services. It is also an expensive process to a bank. Even if it's done digitally, the price for a KYC procedure, depending on the level of granularity of data the bank has to acquire legally, it costs from 10 to even 30 euros per one KYC procedure. So it means that the customer acquisition costs for bank are quite high, given that the regulations obliges them to do this. So they cannot just skip that procedure. So what if I, as a, let's say, customer of CaixaBank, can pass this procedure at CaixaBank, but tomorrow I want to engage with another third-party service? I don't know. I want to get insurance from Bank Santander, just for matter of speaking. And to spare my time as user, I can say, look, yesterday I've done my KYC at CaixaBank, and I'm allowing CaixaBank to share this information, exactly that information which is required by the, let's say, new service provider with this new service provider, so that CaixaBank can, for instance, even sell this KYC procedure at, let's say, some fraction of the cost, recovering fraction of the cost which they incurred during the initial KYC. So, and there are a lot of third-party services which are already trying to solve this problem of sharing your personal data information in order to engage with different digital services. The question is of the TRAPEZE added value, that exchange is happening again with the full GDPR compliance and the sticky policy and the consents exactly overlaying and the overlaying consent of the user itself. Again, leveraging the sticky policy concept. So how we start here? So
sorry, Alexander, sorry. We're really running out of time. Could you please a little bit quickly present the next slides? I'm very sorry about that.
yeah, sure. So
Yeah.
I'm doing this. So
Yeah, thank you.
okay, we basically find the common grounds between the user's needs and then apply the application here, then third-party components, and then the TRAPEZE platform here. I will then fast forward the information here about our architecture and just come to several aspects related to our achievements. So we have, of course, collaboration aspects. Then we got compliance, privacy, and policy management work packages responsible of introducing the reasoning algorithm and this consents in a JSON form even. And we also secure everything. Your policy are secured in tamper-proof policy storage, leveraging blockchain uses. We have different interfaces, privacy dashboards, both for web and mobile application, and of course we have platform. So we are at about midterm of our project. We are fast forward this. This is how dashboard looking. We have different APIs which can be plugged to different controller services about policies, data, and the consents which are given to the user in one overview, in one window, related to you, your data, and the controller, how will we use it. We also have a citizen-centric help desk. This is the open source stuff. This is everything which everyone can go to our website and get to the central point of information and all security and privacy related questions. And that concludes my presentation with a very quick wrap up. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for your presentation. Is there a short question to Alexander? Just if there are, if not, of course, you can type on chat your questions and we can discuss also during the open discussion session. It will be also acceptable. I guess no. So thank you very much, Alexandra. Thank you again, and we move on with the puzzle project.
Hello, I hope that you can hear me and that you can see the full screen of my presentation.
Not yet, but yes, now yes, we
Oh,
can.
great.
Yeah. Okay.
Great. Thank you, Siranush. Hello, everyone. Good morning. My name is Jasna Komatovic, and I'm a communication and dissemination team member in Puzzle and marketing manager in Vojvodina ICT cluster, which is one of the consortium partners in this project. So I have to apologize because from time to time I receive the notifications about an unstable connection. So I had to turn off my camera. I try to avoid potential interruptions in my presentation. So a brief overview of the puzzle project and validation contracts from my side on today's clustering event. About the puzzle, it is a EU-funded project set to design and implement a state-of-the-art cybersecurity, privacy, and data protection management framework. Puzzle is going to provide monitoring and visualization tools, as well as a dashboard where information regarding sets of assets, vulnerabilities, identified threats and risk is going to be made available to end users. So we will help SMEs.
Sorry to interrupt, but if you're changing slides, we're still seeing the first slide.
Sorry, what about now?
I think it's still, at least for me, I don't know for everybody else.
Yes, we cannot see your slides, Jessa.
Maybe you can see.
Now we can.
Yes, now we can see.
Okay, maybe it's a better, not in the full screen. Okay, you can see it now. Please confirm.
Yes, we can see.
Okay, okay. So we will help SMEs and MEs monitor risks to their digital security, privacy, and data protection by analyzing the hardware and software assets within the SME's boundary. Puzzle overview, as you can see here, we have summarized the most important part in several points, such as development of an easy to onboard and easy to deploy cybersecurity services marketplace for enterprises, conceptualization and development of cyber threats, data modeling and risk assessment models, personalized cybersecurity functions per business, enhanced operational assurance and detection capabilities, automated orchestrations of advanced security deployments, etc. So selected as one of the most innovative new approaches in cybersecurity by the European Commission. PASL aims to strengthen cyber safety, also considering post-threat mitigation revolving around optimal security policy recommendation, filling an important security gap for many SMEs, citizens, and IT infrastructures on post-threat mitigation. So PASL's novel approach of providing cybersecurity services through a marketplace as a service, easy to adapt and deploy within SMEs and MEs network and computational infrastructure, leads to a bigger picture of improved security awareness of course, SMEs and MEs in the areas of security, privacy, threats management, and personal data protection. So who we are? The PASL consortium contains some of the strongest European players in cybersecurity and brings together multidisciplinary competences and resources from academia, industry, and research communities. PASL comprises 13 partners representing research institutes, universities, technology providers, also infrastructure providers, industrial partners, including 8 SMEs and MEs from 8 European Commission member states and associated countries. So as we already know, malicious online activity can cost enterprises everything. So protecting organization is the paramount of the PASL project. About our mission, PASL will enable a new mode of security and verification for mixed critically services running at various levels in the overall SMEs business ecosystem stack, turn the business ecosystem into real-time verified ecosystem governed by security enablers to safeguard correct state of all assets during the entire life cycle of operation. So safeguard also attestation and verification and threat intelligence data sharing. Motivation is to give all European SMEs and MEs access to comprehensive security operation solutions that are appropriate to their circumstances, which is affordable to keep pace with the escalating threats and innovation in technology and practice. The following value propositions are important for us. It's to develop a cybersecurity, privacy, and data protection management framework to facilitate the collection, processing, and exchange of data and knowledge sharing among SMEs respecting cyber threats and vulnerabilities, provide a set of network and edge cybersecurity functional primitives as a service, suggest optimal mitigation strategies and policies, and support their enforcement. The concept behind the technology is a flexible platform that runs a number of complementary security services for detection and analysis, and feeds them with the appropriate context from a dynamic and evolving systems. About the open call, so PASL validation contract call is launched, is our main focus in this phase of the project. In this open call, total funding available is 150,000 euros, 10,000 euros per proposals or per sub-grant agreement for third parties. More about this validation contracts call. In this open call, PASL seeks for IT-based or non-IT-based SMEs, MEs, also startups in the areas of healthcare, fintech, manufacturing, agri-food, the government, but also in different sectors and industries from retail, construction, farming, etc., with strict security, privacy, and operational assurance requirement. Puzzle aims to employ highly usable security, privacy, and data protection management framework, as I already mentioned, from two perspectives, to SMEs and MEs and cybersecurity providers. So teams who manage to meet criteria framed around the problem will be granted with a validation contract of 10,000 euros, but not before the end of the successful implementation of each case, thanks to which Puzzle will collect feedback from them. Validation contest is a funded open call that will award selected applicants with a grant in order to connect their systems and services to the Puzzle framework in order to verify its application, functioning, and design. More about this open call, applicants can present their ideas, potential, or also creativity on how the Puzzle marketplace could complement the development activities of a product or service that they are already providing to their customers. So small and medium sized enterprises and micro enterprises who deal with cybersecurity, privacy, personal data protection can submit proposals at the Puzzle validation contest or contract. So let's see what is the Puzzle validation contest. So we came up with this goal in order to improve marketplace and testing activities within the project. The aim of the call is to provide SMEs and MEs who deal with cybersecurity a set of tools and solutions of varied sophistication level to allow them benefit from the innovative target solution that the Puzzle marketplace offers, addressing their specific needs and available resources. So we are looking for 10 European SMEs as adapters to connect their systems to Puzzle marketplace, and 5 cybersecurity vendors to connect their services to the marketplace to validate the ability of the adapters to browse and select cybersecurity and data protection services that suit their need and test the ability of the Puzzle framework to deploy these services. So Puzzle Consortium designed an online platform, as you can see, is on the digital SME website. It's an online platform for application submissions that will be kept open for 4 months until the end of May. As for the criteria, contestants will have to meet to find themselves in the shortlist selection if they are have innovation character and originality of the idea, challenges and relevance of the problem dealt, knowledge of technical related matters, of course, feasibility and construction of demonstrator, and quality of presentation. So our recommendation is to read Puzzle guidelines for applicants before applying. More about the timeline. The selection will be performed by evaluation committee. Selected applicants through the open call will be granted with this contract that will allow them to cover expenses for interacting with the consortium, onboarding their own cybersecurity services, and mainly adapting the Puzzle marketplace for the development of small-scale use case. Evaluation processes in June, communication of results to applicants is during July, negotiation and sub-grantee signatures of contracts in August, and execution of validation contracts activities is 10 months until the June next year. So we strive to work proactively in every aspects of the project, given the opportunities at today's event, to invite everyone present to share and disseminate information about this open call through their networks and social media, of course, and invite SMEs and NMEs, also cybersecurity providers, to apply. So all information, details, and accompanying documentation are available on the Puzzle website and online application form. So I am at your disposals for any questions, thoughts regarding Puzzle project.
Thank you very much for your presentation. Very interesting activities are taking place in your project. If there are any questions regarding the puzzle project, we
Just a
still
quick
have
question.
2 minutes. Yeah.
Just a quick question from my side to see if I understood correctly. So there are no predefined use cases in Puzzle project. The validation will come from companies that after the contest, right?
Yeah, yes and no. We have predefined some of the use cases from technical partners of the project. But in this phase of the project, we start with preparation of the go-to-market strategy. And this open call is very important to get the feedback from different SMEs and also cybersecurity providers to establish better in this testing phase during the validation contracts process, to establish better, how to put it, useful part of the Puzzle marketplace, because we didn't cover every aspects of the use cases in this first phase of the project development. We want to connect with SMEs and to hear and to collect their feedback, what they are thinking about the Puzzle marketplace and how they can use it in a better way after the project ends.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for your attention and time.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Okay, we have one more project before our coffee break. CyberKit for SME. Stefan. Hello, Stefan.
Hello.
Yeah, would you like to share your screen?
Yes, that would be great. Thank you.
Oh, great.
So hopefully you can see that.
Yes, we do.
Great. So yeah, I mean, I'm keeping everyone from their coffee, which is never the best place to be. So I'll try not to overrun. So good morning, everyone. My name's Stephen Phillips. I'm the technical coordinator of CyberKit for SME. And I'm just going to run through what the project's about and look at where we might work together. Yeah, I don't want to tell you too much about the administrative detail. We're 2 years through our 3-year project, where you have budget for technology development and validation and all the rest. This is of some importance because you may be interested in validation, for instance. So we have technical partners and validation partners. And in the validation area, we look across 4 different sectors, so transport, energy, finance and health use cases. And the technical partners include universities and companies and research institutions, and I'll come back to the technical aspects in more detail. So, well, I think we all know what the challenges for SMEs are, but just quickly to go through this, the cybersecurity challenges are the technological complexity, many interconnections and more standards and heavier enforcement of those standards. And yet SMEs generally have low awareness of cybersecurity and not much resource. So to try and push back on this seesaw. The project is aiming to increase the SME awareness, let them share some resources and share some information, and make the risk assessment, monitoring and data protection more accessible through automation and ease of use and deployment. And we have 6 areas which we're addressing to try and achieve this vision. I'm going to go through these one by one, but firstly, I'm going to present 5 of them in our functional architecture. So you'll see each of those again. I don't need to read them out to you. This is a simplified architecture, but it's as ever, these slides are a little bit complicated. But I'll try and show you how they link together. So we have a seam in the middle here from Inetum called Kenai, and that links together many of our other components. It pulls in information from the SME's information systems through logs. It pulls in information from our secure data service on the left here to understand what's going on with the encrypted data and the access to that. The seam pulls in information from the service ledger component, the secure information sharing framework, which lets SMEs share cyber threat intelligence between them, and also links into our CSIRT actor on the right-hand side. So we have a way of sharing intelligence between SMEs in a secure and trackable way. That goes into the seam. Up at the top, we have the system security modeler, which helps SMEs with an ISO 27005 risk analysis, and also lets them understand GDPR compliance. And then top left, we have something called HORM, which is a way to easily explain cyber risks to SMEs and their employees. And there's a link between those 2 components in terms of whether we're looking at complex or simple models of the same situation. A little bit more on each of those. The secure data services is from IBM. This is open source. So it's a way of helping secure Parquet data services. So the Parquet data is an open standard for column-based data, and the system from IBM here puts encryption on top of that and provides a simple API to get information in and out of their secure data service. And as I say, this is open source, and it's already being taken up by the community around Parquet and Hadoop. And it lets you, for instance, manage your own keys in a secure way. You can provide access to a single securing the data when it's at rest. And I'd recommend you look up more on this, because it's available for use from all, because it's open source and it's accepted by the community. We have a Steam from Inetum called Kenai. So this is a commercial offering that is integrated through some open standards with other parts of the project. So SIEMs, if you're not aware of them, security information and event management systems, which basically pull in all the logs from all your other services, analyze those logs, applying rules to then highlight where there are potential issues, and this has recently been upgraded to pull in the rule sets that are available on open systems. So it then provides alerts to the user based on those rules, and lets them understand much better what's going on. And of course, in this project, as with all of these projects, we're trying to make this system easy for SMEs to use, because SIEMs are commonly considered very, very complex and more suitable for larger enterprises. But by integrating with open systems and open information sources where we can, and working on the interfaces, this is being made easier for SMEs. We then have the System Security Modeler. This is from the University of Southampton IT Innovation Centre. This is my component. I'll try not to talk too long about it. But as I say, it does helps you go through the process of an ISO 27005 risk assessment. We have an example model on the right-hand side there showing the organization's assets, whether it's data, services, people taking certain roles, networks, and so forth. The software analyzes that system to find the threats, and also, and by threats, we also include threats to regulatory compliance. We calculate risks based on the business impact that's specified and the computed likelihood. The software has a knowledge base that can then recommend mitigations to reduce the likelihood and therefore reduce the risk. So that could be security controls, could be user training policies, could be disabling something, redesigning, whatever. And then we output the results to integrate with other systems, so technical reports, but also technical APIs. And the value in this is just the automation, really, because doing this by hand in a reliable way is really, really hard. And this component's open source, but not actually, you can't grab it just yet. We're in the process of open sourcing it. We then have HORM from SINTEF, Human and Organizational Risk Modeling. There's an example diagram here. It's basically a nice way to draw flows, a bit like sequence diagrams, if you're familiar with those, but much easier to read. So showing the primary actors, what each actor is doing or even thinking, and how they interact with each other and how they interact with information systems, and then highlighting where the risks are and where things go wrong. And this really helps in terms of training users and explaining the problems so that they're more likely to be able to avoid them. Lets you look at what if scenarios and learn from previous mistakes. And this is being, as I say, this is a sort of simplified way of explaining some threats that can be surfaced in the SSM. So then 2 to go. The service ledger is again from University of Southampton, but this is the cybersecurity group. And this is our component for sharing cyber threat intelligence. So there's 2 key aspects here. It uses a decentralized data store. So any cyber threat intelligence data doesn't have a single owner. Once it's put into the system, it's decentralized across a network. And it uses blockchain to, in a sense, sign what goes into that data storage, so that it's really clear who's done what, and that can't be tampered with. The blockchain it uses is Algorand, so it's not the same thing that Bitcoin has of massive amounts of computing power to add something to the blockchain. It's a different system entirely. And the concept is that different sectors would use their own service ledger network, so they could share cyber threat intelligence, for instance, across the finance sector or perhaps across a supply chain. Anyone who wants to share information could join such a network. Then finally, the last of those 6 pillars that I mentioned is our training and cyber range strand. This has been mentioned by other projects as well, of course, because we know that SMEs need training to help them protect themselves. We got various different areas that we're looking at in this particular work package. So the human factors that I mentioned, where we have the human and organizational risk modeling, very accessible format for explaining cyber risks. We got the risk analysis itself. So the SSM lets SMEs explore different scenarios, understand where risk arises and how it can be addressed. And we're also developing an online risk analysis course for SMEs. We have a cyber range task, which is being developed, where that will be used to simulate attack and defense, again, with a view to what SMEs need. And then an education strand where the University of Southampton Cybersecurity Attack Academy will use much of this material. So I should just say before my final slide, as we're 2 years in, all of these components exist. All but the service ledger are deployed and being validated by our SMEs. And we're continuing with the integration to improve that integration between the components, but they're already in our test bed, already in use, still being adding features, fixing bugs, and the focus is on the integration at this stage. So just finally, before you go and have your coffee, I put together a slide about sort of cross-cutting issues that I thought we might want to discuss later. These are the ones that seemed key to me. So validation. In our project, we've got 4 SME validation partners, but in our description of action, we said we'd get more. Unlike the project we just heard about, we don't have any open call, so we need non-funded SMEs to do validation, which of course is quite hard. I imagine other projects also have a similar issue, so it'd be great to discuss how we can address that. A lot of us are generating training material. Can that be shared, pulled together? Because we don't want to duplicate things, and maybe if we put it together, we'll get a better result. Of course, we all need to disseminate. This is a great collaboration to pull the projects together so we can talk to each other. But how can we come together to disseminate to the SME community beyond our own partners? And then in technical integration, as I say, this is often too hard or out of scope. But you know, we're open to providing many of our tools. Many of them are open source, and we're open to looking at that with other projects. And yeah, hopefully I caught up a few minutes there. But that's the end of my presentation. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Stefan. You are right on on time. But yes, if there are questions, please. We'll take 1-2 minutes from our coffee break.
Yeah. Looks like the coffee is winning.
Yeah, it looks like that we all need coffee.
There are some important things that you mentioned, but I think they best fit in the discussion because
Of course, yes, of course. We can come
Sentinel
back.
also promises these. We have two use cases, but we need to find more, and this is something that we can discuss during the discussion session,
Yeah,
as
I
well
think
as the jointly dissemination events. Yes, many
Yeah,
things.
these are
I thought it was
parts. Yeah.
useful if I explained what we had, and then of course, yes, we can discuss joint
Yeah, of course.
work
And
later.
also, this project is much more developed, so you can share with us your previous experience, so we can hear more stuff from you.
We can try.
Okay, then. Thank you very much for your presentation. And with this project, we're closing the first, let's say, the half of the first session. So for the moment, we can stop for 15 minutes and come back at 5 minutes to 11 to continue with the rest of the project, which are under the topic DS02. So enjoy your coffee and we resume in 50 minutes. Almost 50 minutes, okay.
Thank you.
10:15, okay. 55. Thank you.
Great. See you in a bit.
Yeah.